Milan, we're going to be doing VET, which is question 1B, worth 11 marks, 7 minutes long. Information relating to Patel's pies. VET is calculated at 15%. Just highlight that so that you don't forget. Year end is 2022, and the following transactions were extracted from the accounting records of Patel's pies for the year ended 30 September 2022. So that is the end of the year, 30 September 2022. Number one goes like, Patel sold 1,100 pies for 23 Rand each. This includes 3 Rand VAT on each pie. Now, when you are used to memorizing, you will miss the fact that here there was no need to calculate VAT. It was given to you per pie, which is 3 Rand. And you need to understand when we determine VAT input and VAT output, we don't care about the amount excluding VAT. We don't care about the amount including VAT. The only thing that we care about is the VAT amount itself, is the 15%. So just to remember that when you're preparing amounts payable or receivable from SARS, the only concern that you should have is how you would calculate VAT. That's the only thing that matters. Now, remember, VAT is when you determine VAT input and output, you don't focus on the end goal. The first step that you must do is to first find the VAT value. That is the first step. Find the VAT amount. And then determine whether that VAT amount is VAT input, which is VAT receivable from SARS, or if it is VAT output, which is VAT that we need to pay to SARS. It goes out to SARS. We need to pay it out to SARS. Input, we need to claim it back from SARS. It comes into the business, okay? Into input, out to SARS, output. Remember that, okay? Now, I'm going to start by defining what VAT output is. VAT output is basically calculated, it's basically us collecting the VAT, and then we need to pay it over to SARS. So we are the VAT collectors. What else? VAT input is us having paid the VAT that we can later on claim from SARS. So we are not the collectors. Whoever we are buying from, they are the collectors. The buyer, the seller is the collector. That is VAT input. We can claim it back from SARS and it'll come into the business. That's why we call it input. That's an asset. Output is a liability. All right. Now, before I jump the gun, let me just look at the answer book as to what is exactly given to us and what is required. We are given this table. We need to analyze the extracted transactions and the effect on the amount owing to SARS for VAT as per the table below. I think they were supposed to say amount owing to SARS or amount we can claim from SARS. I think that's what the question was supposed to have been phrased, because what if VAT input in this example is greater than VAT output? Now that means it's the amount that is owing to us, which is, who is us? We are Patel's pies. We good? Now, amount owing to SARS will increase when we have VAT output. It'll decrease when we have VAT input. I hope that makes sense. A reduction of VAT output is input. A reduction of VAT input is output. I hope that makes sense. Okay. A reduction of VAT output is input. Just remember that. Now, let's go to the first one. First of all, the first word takes it all. It says we sold. meaning that if we sell, we are the ones that are going to receive that amount that we must take up to sales. Now we're selling these pies for 23 Rand each. Note that that 23 Rand will include VAT. So if you want to calculate the VAT amount on that 23 Rand, you multiply by 15 divided by 115, because we sell them at an amount including VAT, unless you've been told otherwise. This includes 3 Rand VAT on each pie. Now, that cancels what I've just said to you. You don't need to calculate the VAT amount here. It was given to you, which is the 3 Rand. So to calculate the VAT amount, you will take 1,100 and just multiply it by 3 Rand. It'll give you the VAT amount. And your VAT amount will be 3,300. It'll be 3,300. Then after calculating the VAT amount, you can determine whether that VAT amount is VAT input or output. Here we sold, we are the collectors. Since we are the collectors, it results in the amount we owe to SARS, which is VAT output. Easy, right? On the transaction 2, it says that we purchased a delivery van. So now we are buying from someone. That means we are not the collectors. So whatever we're going to have here will be VAT input. We are not the collectors. The person we are buying from is the collector, and we're going to claim whatever they collect from us. We're going to claim it from SARS. We purchased the delivery van for 184,000, which is VAT intrusive. Okay, but then that is before a trade discount of 7.5 was negotiated. How much can we claim from SARS? Can we claim VAT on that 184, or can we claim it on the 184 minus the 7.5 trade discount, which we normally do not record? We just don't record trade discount. We first have to determine the amount excluding trade discount before we can calculate VAT. We will take that 184,000 multiplied by 100 minus 7.5, and that will give us 170,200. And then they said 184 is VAT inclusive. That means even the 170,200 is VAT inclusive. To get the VAT amount out of that 170,200, we are going to multiply it by 15 over 115. And then you will get your VAT amount. And your VAT amount here will be 22,200. As we said, we are buying from someone. So we're not their VAT collectors. So wherever we are buying from, those are the VAT collectors. Our duty is to claim it back from SARS. Therefore, it decreases what we owe SARS. It decreases VAT output. Let's go to the third one. Returned 16,000 worth of spices to a supplier. You see, this is the reverse of the one that we just did now. We said we are buying from whoever, they are the collectors, we're going to claim it back. But now when we return goods back to those people, it means that it reduces what we're claiming back, resulting in VAT output. So returns to suppliers will result in VAT output, but I'm not there. We first have to calculate VAT. That is step number 1, calculate VAT, and then determine whether that VAT amount is VAT input or output. Right. Now, the creditor charged a 10% handling fee on the return. The creditor charged us a handling fee on the return. Now, this question, I think it came out in 2022 November paper, but it was under financial statements where that handling fee, we had to recognize it as an expense. It actually reduces our VAT output, because when you return goods to customers, it reduces our VAT output. But here, note that the VAT output couldn't be on that 16,000 Rand. It has to be on the 16,000 Rand minus the handling fee. It has to be on the 90% of that 16,000 Rand, because the creditor somehow is only allowing us a return amounting to 90% of that 16,000. So you will take that 16,000 multiplied by 90% first. But because that 16,000 was VAT exclusive, it means that 14,400 is also VAT exclusive. To find VAT on that, you'll multiply it by 15 divided by 100, and that'll give you 2,160. That 2,160 is VAT output. It increases what we owe SARS. Number 4, a debtor who owed 4,025 was declared insolvent. His estate paid 60 cents in the Rand. The remainder must be written off as bad debts. Expense results in VAT input, but I'm not there. We first have to calculate the expense, which is bad debts. Bad debt reduces VAT output. Bad debt reduces VAT output. The reason why VAT on bad debts will result in a reduction of VAT output is because when we sell goods, the total amount of those goods, when you calculate VAT on it, we are the collectors. So on that total amount we've sold goods for, we have to pay SARS whatever we collected. However, here we didn't collect everything that we sold. And the amount that we didn't collect is the 40 cents for every 60 cents. For every 1 Rand we sold, we did not collect 40 cents. So of that 4,025, we did not collect 40 cents. So we can't say that 40 cents will result in VAT output because we did not collect it. We cannot say it's payable to SARS. Okay, we did not collect it. Then you're going to take that 1,610 multiplied. It's VAT inclusive because it relates to goods being sold. When we sell goods, it'll include VAT unless you've been told otherwise, obviously. So we are going to take that 1,610 multiplied by 15 divided by 115. We will get a VAT amount of 210. That 210 reduces our VAT output. That's it. That is it. Thank you for watching again. Please subscribe, like the videos, and share with everyone that you know that is doing accounting. Khotso.